Okay. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Vavato Sahano Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Namasarvebhyah Suswagatam Yatkimapi Prashnaha Santi va अथवा संस्कृत वाङ्मये गमिष्यामः वा any questions or shall we straight go to Sanskrit this one? Give me a minute. Yeah, sorry about that. So yes, any can we directly move to the Sanskrit Vaङ्maya?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, what is Adyatanaha?
Adyatanaha. Adyatana Bhavishya. That is what you are asking? Okay. That is the Lring Lakara, right?
Lung.
So Adyatana will mean that which is going to happen in today. Adyatana.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, we had Lung and what was the other Lakara?
Lut.
Lut. That is Adyatana Bhuta. Bahubhuta.
Anadyatana.
Anadyatana Bhuta. Anadya Bhuta. Correct. Similarly, Adyatana Bhavishya and Anadya Bhavishya. That's how it will. Lrit is Bhavishya. Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you, sir.
Asto. Okay. In which case, we can move to Samskrita Vaङ्maya. What is Samskrita Vaङ्maya?
Sahitya.
Sahitya. Okay. Gauriji, any answers?
I don't know.
Okay. Narayan Mahodaya, anything you want to say? You are on mute. Dhvanipetika mukam asti. Dhvani mudrika. Petika. Dhvani mudrika. He's even switched off the video. Nilima Mahodaya.
Vaङ्maya means the world of letters.
Oral tradition. Very good. Nilima Mahodaya. You're on mute. Astu. Chinta nasti. So, Vaङ्maya. You have any thoughts on what is Vaङ्maya?
Something that is spoken traditions.
Oral, yes. Va plus Maya becomes Vaङ्maya. That is all. Nothing more. Okay. Va, because of a Sandhi rule, that Kakara becomes Ngakara. Because it's followed by a
Maya means made of. Maya means made of, no? Made of.
Yes, made of oral. Something that is oral. So we had a strong oral tradition, and that's why it is Vaङ्maya. Now, if you look at the Pravesha book, the 5th part of every chapter, there are 10 parts to every chapter. The 5th part of it will talk about Samskrita Vaङ्maya. Correct? before the Katha. Okay, it says Samskrita Vangmaya Parichayaha. Now, there are a lot of things about this. One part is how the whole speech, the process of speech started. That starts with the Vedas. The Vedas, we have covered this part. We have covered when I did the Sanatana Dharma episode. When I did the Sanatana Dharma class. So that was very detailed, and you can refer to those videos. We have covered a lot of it of what are Vedas, what are Puranas, then what is the difference between Veda and Purana, why do you need Purana, then what are the 4 Vedas, then also what we did was Veda, Upanishad, Purana, then there is Astika Darshanani, Shad Darshanani, that is basically you have the Sankhya, Yoga, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Purva Mimamsa, Uttara Mimamsa. Uttara Mimamsa are the Upanishads. We discussed this part. These are the 6 Astika Darshana. Then there are 3 Nastika Darshana. The Bauddha, Jaina, and Charavaka. These are the 3 Nastika Darshana. The difference between these, how they came about, why they came about, all these things we sort of discussed in detail. That covers pretty much the first and the second parts of the book. So I will skip that for now. Now Puranas are 18. Now I want to talk a little on the role of one Sri Veda Vyasa Maharshi. Nirima Mahodaya, you have anything to add? Okay. So Veda Vyasa Maharshi is known. What is Veda Vyasa famous for?
The Mahabharata.
Mahabharata, but that is not but then why is he called Veda Vyasa? He should have called Bharata Vyasa, no?
All the Vedas. He compiled all the shlokas, whatever he could get hold of, and he compiled them into the various Vedas.
No, he did not compile them into various Vedas. Vedas were already 3 in existence. Vedas were already 3. Rig, Yajus, Sama. Rig were all the Yashwini Madhya.
Mahabharata is like a 5th Veda.
Panchamam Vedam, that will come to that in a minute. But Vedas itself were 3 from the beginning. It is not like Vedas were not 3. I have shown one slide with how many shlokas, how many mantras in each Veda. There are 20,000 odd mantras, all 4 Vedas put together. And how many are unique to each of them? I have shown that this one. There are 20,000 unique mantras. A lot of them are borrowed mostly from the Rig Veda. That is the largest of 10,000. Okay. So we have covered as to what is the role of the Rig Veda. That probably I can cover now. See, this is the process of creation and sustenance. If I were to put why Vedas are ever existing, the creation, sustenance, and the operation manual of the universe is the Vedas. In some ways, in a lot of ways, whatever is there in the external world, that is there in us. That is the way it works. Now, in the context of human beings, how are these Vedas useful? They are useful, as Krishna says in the 3rd chapter. Devana Bhavayat. Wait, I'll tell you the exact shloka. Yes. Sayagya Praja Srishtva Purovacha Prajapatihi Anena Prasavishyadvat Vadvam Yesha Voshtvashtakamaduka. So what he says is, whatever are your desires, whatever you want to do it within the framework of Yagya. You milk your cow of desires. Kamadhuka. You milk. Kamadenu. Kama is all the desires that we have. How you do it within that framework of yajna. Now, yajna, of course, it is in an altar, you pour ghee, you pour so many things. That's the modern day framework of it. But what it also means is there is a lot of things in the same 4th chapter. He puts out the kind of yajna that can be performed. Now, yajna necessarily has 4 components, or let me say, 5 components to it. One, the person performing the yajna, that is the yajamana and the yajamana patni. You can never perform a yajna if you are not a householder. That is basically if you are not married, if you don't have a yajna, you don't have a patni, there is no way you can perform the yajna. Only the nitya yajna. There are some nitya yajna, like you are offering to the devas, you are offering to bhuta yajna, panchamaha yajna. They are there. They are done by anybody. Any random person can do it. But other yajnas necessarily are performed only by pati and the patni. There is no way you can escape that. That is the framework. It's a family framework is very, very clear in our system. And I think I made this point extremely clear even on the very first, this one, that the base unit of a society is not an individual. A group of individuals do not form a society. They can form a community, but not a society. Only a group of families can form a society. Okay. So the family's job is to perform and get all the things that they want. So that framework of yajna was defined that way. And to perform that yajna, they are the quintessential feature of that. Who says, yes, who steps into the world and says, hey, I want to do this, whether it's for Loka Sangraha, whether it's for themselves, whatever it is, they are performing it. The process is aided by 16 people in all. Other 16 people, totally 18 people. The 16 people, 4 of them are the people who are called the Hotragana. Hotragana are the Rigvedis. Okay. Now they are the ones who invoke the person or the god or whatever you want. That I wouldn't say god. God is a very wrong term. The devas who are supposed to be pleased, or let's put it in the modern day format. They are the ones who define how do you approach a particular problem to solve it, basically. In the modern day context, if I were to put it. Then there are who are called the Advaryugana. The Advaryuganas are the Yajurvedis. 4 of them again. Now they are the ones who actually are doing the part of working, the key work that is to be done. That is you give the ahutis, no? Whenever the ahuti is given, that is the role of the Advaryugana. Then there are the Udghatragana. Udghatragana. These are the Samavedis. They are supposed to ensure that the people taking the offerings, and then it's a paraspara bhava, no? You are giving something to the devas are going to return. To ensure that the devas are all happy in getting, and they are all returning very happily in all this. Okay. Then finally is the Brahmagana. That is the Atharvana Veda, this one. Where, what is the job of, have you all observed a homam that is ever done? You have done. Ashwini ji has done. Nilima ji? You have seen a homam or a yajna?
Yes.
Yes. Gauri ji, have you seen a yajna?
Yes, I have seen.
You have seen. So all 4 corners there will be people, right? And there, what do we do for the Brahmagana? Do you know the role of the Brahmagana? Usually these days they end up keeping a coconut at that place. The first, this one. He is in some sense the official manager of the yajna. They are the official managers of the yajna. What is going right, what is going wrong, if something is right, if something is wrong, he is supposed to point out, tell this is right, this is wrong, this is to be done this way, you are doing it right, wrong, whatever. That is their job. to conduct. So in an orchestra, you have the conductor, no? That is the role of the Brahmagana. Unfortunately, today we have reduced that to a coconut. That is where it has come to. Forget getting 16 Ritviks and doing the yajna and all that. I mean, we don't even have that. I don't know how many are there even there. Even when you do a yajna, I see one Purohit who will be doing everything, will be chanting all the possible mantras, and somebody will be putting in something. And half of them would not even understand why they are putting in this one into it. And there are all sorts of yajnas going on with chilies and all those things. I don't even want to get there where this is all not the right way of doing things. We have gotten into a very wrong state of framework. But the yajna is supposed to be done with that framework. Now, if you do the adhyayana of these Vedas from that framework, then we will understand that, you can get pretty much anything you want with the way in that framework. Okay. So the difference between the Vedas and the next layer, that is the Shruti. Vedas, Upanishads are the Shruti. That is basically, it is not something that is available, that is not written, that is not something I just went into a dream and I started writing some structure and something came to my mind. It's not a poetry. No, it is not as simple as that. It is something that is naturally existing, which was seen or heard or which was sensed by our rishis in the state when they were able to synchronize their frequency with the natural frequency. That is how it comes. Okay. And they're very deep. Those mantras are deep, and if done the right way, it can create it is very high potential. Okay. Now then, of course, Vedas are like 20,000 mantras, and that's about Vedas, right? But at the end of it, if everybody remembers 20,000 mantras could understand, it was not possible for everyone to understand. So they asked for some simplification somewhere. Said, you know what? Okay, it's all right. Somebody very great has done all this, but not everybody can reach that level. So let's get to something simpler. And that's when came the Smritis. How to live in a dharmic framework. That was what was created through Smritis. You have the Manusmriti, you have the Yagyavalkya Smriti, you have the Parasharya Smriti, then there are many more which are there. So all this have created a framework for living, a sustainable living. So consider it this way, if I were to quote a modern parlance, consider it something like a constitution of India. Vedas are something like the Constitution of India, big something written out there. If you read the Constitution of India, hardly anyone can make head or tail of what laws to follow in life. Okay. And in that, so when you get that, then what you need is basically, you need some bare acts to be passed out of that, out of those constitutional framework, which tell you, okay, this is how it is supposed to be. Simple thing. You have what is called the Finance Act, which comes from the Constitution. There is a Finances of India, Consolidated Fund of India, how it should be managed. Then comes the Finance Act. The Finance Act will tell you these are the kind of things that can happen. This is what the government can do. This is what the government cannot do. This is what people need to follow, etc., etc. Again, if you follow that bare act, that is also has no meaning. That is what Smriti will tell you. It has to be interpreted in some ways. Right? That is contextual again. So all the IT income tax officers, income tax, these people, whoever are sitting in authoritative positions, are interpreting that act into the way it is to be implemented. And those are all contextual. Those are all situational. That is what Puranas will do. One situation may not be applicable to the other situation. Picking the right situation is very important. Then there are some case laws. Let us say the IBC, for instance. the insolvency resolution and bankruptcy and all these things. There are some acts that are not the act. There are some case laws which are going through courts. There is the tribunals, courts, etc., etc. They form what are called precedents to be followed. This would be the equivalent of our itihasa. Puranas are different from itihasa, by the way. We have only two itihasas. What are they?
Ramayana and Mahabharata.
Ramayana and Mahabharata. Because itihasi, they actually happened. Puranas can be imaginatory, but itihasas are not imaginatory. They happened. We believe they happened and they did happen. That is how they were. Okay. That brings me to a very important thing. Now, how many Puranas are there? By the way, yeah, before that.
18.
18 Puranas are there. Anybody who can recollect all of them?
Padma Purana, Garuda Purana, no, all
Vishnu Puran,
Okay.
Agni Puran,
Agni Puran, Narada Puran,
Purana.
Narada Puran,
Vaikuntha Purana,
Vishnu Bhagavata Purana,
Matsya Puran,
Matsya Purana.
Varaha Puranam,
Padma Puranam.
So, if you see page number 55 from this book, from the Pravesha book, there's a very easy way of, it gives a mnemonic. Madvayam Bhadvayam Chaiva Bratrayam Va Chatushtayam Anapalinga Puskani Puranani Prachakshate. Madvayam. There are two from Ma. What are they? Matsya and
Markandeya,
Markandeya Purana. Bhadvayam. Bha. With Bha, what all are there?
Bhagavata Purana,
and Bhavishya.
Bhagavata Purana and Bhavishyat Purana. Bratrayam.
Brahma Puranam,
Brahma Purana,
Brahmanda Puranam,
Brahmanda Purana,
and
and
Brahma Vaivarta Puranam.
Brahma Vaivashvata Purana. Okay. Vachatushtayam. Four of Va.
Varaha,
What are they?
Vamana, Vayu, Vishnu.
Varaha, Vayu,
Vamana,
Vamana,
Vishnu.
Vishnu. Uttama. Then there is Anapa. How many are over now? 4 plus 3, 7 plus
11.
4. 11 are over. Remaining 7. What is with
Agni Puran,
Agni Purana. Na
Narad Puranam,
Narada Purana. Pa
Padma Puranam,
Padma Purana. Ling
Linga Puranam,
Linga Purana. Ga
Garuda Puranam,
Garuda Purana. Ku
Kurma Puranam,
Kurma Purana. Ska
Skanda Puranam,
Skanda Purana. Ni Ni. Don't know.
Not there.
Huh?
I don't think there is any. There
There is
no
nothing with
Purana.
me.
Yes, nothing with me.
There is nothing with me. Kahani. It is basically Anapalinga Kukskani Puranani. So that Ni is the Puranam Purane Puranani.
Bahuvachan.
Bahuvachana. Ani. So that should be Anapalinga Kuska. Those are the 7. Okay. That's how the 18 Puranas are there. Then there are 36 Upapuranas with each of them. Okay. And anybody who knows 4 Upavedaha?
Aranyaka,
No. That is the Brahmana, Aranyaka, Samhita, Upanishad.
part of Veda. Veda's 4 parts.
Are different parts. Samhita, Brahmana, Samhita. So basically, Brahmana is the Brahmacharya part. Samhita is the that is the varna, ashrama dharma. Okay, grahastha, then vanaprastha is aranyaka, then this one Upanishad. Okay, then in fact that's why you have all of you must have heard of Aruna mantra. How many of you have heard of Aruna mantra? Everybody has heard of Aruna mantra, Aruna prashna.
Yes.
Okay, that is Taittiriya Aranyaka. You will never do a yajna with Aruna mantra. Never ever will there be a yajna with Aruna mantra. You will only do namaskara or Surya namaskaras are done with the Aruna mantra. We do it every year with 133 mantras. There are 133 mantras, 133 mantras, 133 namaskaras we do on every Sapta, what is that?
Ratha
Saptami. Okay, that is one this one. Okay, so yeah, that is not Upaveda. Upavedas are
Jyotisha.
no, those are the Vedangas. That is Shiksha, Vyakarna, Nirukta, Chandas, Kalpa, Jyotisha. Those are the 6 Vedangas. Okay. Then you have Upaveda. What are the Upaveda?
No, I'm sorry. No, Atharvana Veda is Upaveda.
No. Atharvana Veda is also a Veda. Atharvangirasa Krutava. I'll tell you the Upavedas. Ayurveda. That comes from Rig Veda.
Astronomy.
Dhanurveda.
Dhanurveda comes from which Veda, Mahodaya?
Bow and arrow and
It is Yajurveda. Dhanurveda comes from Yajurveda. Rama, he was the exponent of Yajurveda. Okay. Then Samaveda. What comes out of Samaveda? Music, absolutely. That is called Gandharva Veda. Okay. Then what comes out of Atharvana Veda?
Rituals.
Rituals, no, not rituals. You have Artha Shastra. Artha Shastra comes out of Atharvana Veda. Okay, these are the 4 Upaveda. Okay. Okay. Now we'll go to some Itihasa and Itihasa. Let's do Itihasa. Okay. What are the Itihasas? We just said Ramayana and Mahabharata. Correct. Now, what is the difference between Ramayana and Mahabharata?
There are 2 different kalpas.
Different kalpas.
Or yugas.
Yuga. Yes, they happened in 2 different yugas. So, for that matter, even Matsya Kurma, Varaha, Vamana also happened in different yugas. That's okay. Okay, that is a historic concept. But what else?
Krishna avatar is a full avatar of that.
A Purna Avatara. Okay. Rama is also a Purna Avatara, Manushya Avatara. But yes, Krishna Avatara is a Purna Avatara. Yes. Because he himself in the 7th shloka of 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita,
he says, I am.
I am. Correct. What does he say? He says, Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetta parantapan ajopi sannavyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakritim swamadishtaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Then it starts yada yada hi dharmasya. First he says, these 2 he says, you look, I am the Parabrahma. Then it starts, why am I here? I am that is one part. Then he says, yada yada hi dharmasya glanirvavati bharata abhyudhanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. Paritrāṇāya sadhūnām vināṣāya ca duṣkrutām dharma samsthapanārthāya sambhavāmi yuge yuge. So in fact, if you read up to third chapter, you will see that you'll up to, of the Bhagavad Gita in up to the third chapter, you will find Arjuna to be extremely condescending with Krishna. In fact, to the extent that he is very, very, how dare you? That is the tone with which he questions Krishna. And he goes on. In fact, even in the fourth chapter, the very first thing, that's why Krishna in the very first sloka of the fourth chapter, he sets the perfect trap for Arjuna to fall into. He says, you know, that Vivasvan Manave Praha. What is that? Yeah. Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Aham Avyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manu Ikshvaka Vebravit Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarshayo Viduho Takal Kale Neha Mahata Yogo Nashtaf Parantapam. So he gives one more. Sayeva Yammaya Tedya Yoga Proktaf Puratanaha Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti Rahasyam Yeta Duttamam. He very clearly says, I tell this only to my friend and someone who is very close to me. So, sort of he is sort of warning him, but perfect trap for Arjuna. Still now he was thinking Arjuna is his very close friend and Krishna was his close friend. After all, he was born 2 or 3 years earlier to Arjuna. That's all. How big, how much of respect do you expect to give him? So he was of that opinion. And this was the perfect trap to tell him, you know, I am someone who taught this to the son when he was there. So that's not something he would have expected. So Arjuna very simply asked and falls into it. Apagam bhavato janma param janma vivasvataha kadametad vijaniyam tvamado proktavanite. Aparam bhavato janma. Before me you were born. Param janma vivasvata. Vivaswan was born some long time ago. He is almost laughing at Krishna at this point. Tatal me tad. Tell me this. Dvijaniyam. How is this and how did you come about this? That you are telling this to Vivaswan, who is the Surya. Tvam adau proktavanite. You just now said, I told this to Surya. How come you came and told this to Surya when you were born 3 years before me? You are telling me Surya was born 3 years before me. That is the question Arjuna is asking. That is a very condescending question. I mean, he is not aware of Krishna or the Krishna Leela or anything. That is when he distances himself. Because if you are teaching somebody something, you sort of need to distance and say, that person needs to look up to you for something. So very clearly he sets it up, and that's when the real teaching from there starts off. The Atma Vidya, that's why it is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Fourth chapter. Okay, so that is where it starts. So, yes, that is why Krishna is the Purna Avatara. Absolutely right. In which case, what is the difference between Ramayana and Bharata? Apart from the fact that, you know, they happened in different times. Valmiki wrote one, Vyasa wrote another one. Okay, these are all differences.
Valmiki wrote it while it was happening.
Okay.
And Mahabharata is like a history.
Mahabharata
so is Ramayana. Ramayana is also a history.
Mahabharata was written. There are many other stories also within those stories, within the story.
That is there in Ramayana also. We have almost 128 texts and 128 forms of Ramayana itself. We have 146 forms of Mahabharata. I mean, that's a very normal thing. Adaptations, local adaptations, okay.
Ramayana has 24,000 shlokas and Mahabharata has almost
1 lakh.
1 lakh shlokas, okay, that is also normal. Apart from that, I mean, I'm talking of the core content of both. Everyone here, I'm assuming, is sort of has at least seen, if not read, at least has seen the Doordarshan serials.
It gives Mahabharata is important because it is giving the fifth
Panchama
Veda
Veda. Correct.
fifth Veda.
So why is it called the Panchama Veda?
Because it gives all the information of what is in the Vedas.
Whatever is there in the world is there in Mahabharata, and whatever is not there in Mahabharata is not there in the world. Yo anyatra asti tad bharate asti. Yo bharate nasti anyatrapi nasti. That is what it is. It says. Okay. Now let me give this in a little different way. Everybody knows the story. I don't want to get into the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? Everybody is aware of the story. Anybody who does not know the story? Nobody is there. Okay. Now Ramayana is what? Okay. Let's take the basic structure of the two stories. Who is the main character in Ramayana?
Rama.
Rama. Who is the main character in Mahabharata?
The Drona, the Pandavas and Kauravas.
Pandavas and Kauravas. That is the key difference. First difference. One difference. Ramasya ayanam iti Ramayanam. The journey of Rama or the sojourn of Rama. Ayanam kutra ayanam?
Ramasya.
Dasharati Ramat. What is that? Pattabhi Rama. Maryada Purushottama Rama. Ramaihi. Ramaya. Dasharati Ramat. Maryada Purushottama Ramaya. Ayanam. The journey from Dasharati Rama, son of Dasharatha Rama, to Maryada Purushottama Rama is what that whole thing is about. It starts with what? Balakanda starts with birth of Rama. In some ways, yeah, birth of Rama. The moment Rama is born, 16 years have passed. Very next Kanda, Vishwamitra Rishi comes and takes him away. That's it. And then the Kanda ends with some stories. We discussed that the Ganga Avataranam and all that. And then there is a story of Vishwamitra, Kaushika and all. It's all full fillers to teach him certain things. And it ends with Rama's wedding. Okay, that's how far the story moves. Just to get a gist of things. Again, Ayodhya Kanda, it is very simple. First 30 sargas are all about preparing for Rama's coronation. He is going to become the king tomorrow, and it's all about that whole this one. 35th sarga, Kaikeyi makes the demand. 40th sarga, Rama is devastated in the sense that over the previous night he is just about to sleep, thinking he is going to become the king tomorrow. He is told he is not the king, tomorrow he is leaving. And it moves. The story moves very fast in up to Ayodhya Kanda. Then it starts. Then the whole Chitrakuta and all those Varnana starts. Valmiki is an Adi Kavi, so he brings out his Kavya Darshana from there. Okay. So it is just that journey. Where does Ramayana end?
It ends after the Pattabhishekam.
It ends with the Pattabhisheka. Very important. It ends with the Pattabhisheka of Rama. Of course, there is the Uttarakanda. I am not disputing there is no Uttarakanda. Yes, I don't want to get into the debate.
Extrapolation.
I know that's what I don't want to get into that debate. It could have been written by Valmiki only. If you look at the structure and all, it is very much there. So nothing against that. So, but there also it is not about Rama Rajya and how the Rajya was led. It is a lot to do with letting go Sita, then how mismanagement by Bharata and some this one. It is not a very comprehensive thing on that front. It ends with the Pattabhisheka of Rama and a good rule. And it says that he was a good ruler for 11,000 years, and that's how it goes on. Where does okay, now very important. Where does Mahabharata start?
It starts with the war, I think.
No, Mahabharata starts with Ganga, what do you call Ganga?
Bhishmacharya's birth or something.
Bhishmacharya's birth. It was 3 generations before Kauravas and Pandavas. So no, okay. Let me recollect. It's actually in parts. I should in Mahabharata we should divide this into very crystal clear parts. So there is Bharata. Who is Bharata? Not Rama's brother.
Bharata,
Shakuntala's son. Shakuntala's son.
Shakuntala's son. Who is Shakuntala?
Shakuntala, Dushyant's wife. King Dushyant's or sage Dushyant's wife.
Dushyant's wife. Okay. Whose daughter?
Vishwamitra's daughter.
Vishwamitra's daughter.
Menaka.
Menaka and Vishwamitra's daughter. Who was her foster father?
Kanva.
Kanva.
Maharshi.
Kanva Maharshi. Very good. Now, there is this whole, the reason I'm bringing this up here is that Abhignana Shakuntalam is a little bit described in this book. Okay. There is a very beautiful, this one of Abhignana Shakuntalam. There is, if you read, it's in 9th chapter. Yes, 8th chapter, page 150. Kavyeshu natakam ramyam, tatra ramya shakuntala, tatrapi chaturtonkaha, tatra shloka chatushtayam. Any idea what this shloka means? Kavyeshu natakam ramyam.
It's one of the best natakam in the nataka form.
No. Out of Kavyas, Natakam is the best part. Out of Natakam, the Shakuntalam is best. Out of Shakuntalam, that particular part you read was best. Even out of that, I think first or second line is the best.
The last
fourth line, whatever. Yeah.
Right. You're right. So it is not the 4th line.
4th anka.
What it means is, let me just where is that page number? Okay, there is one. There is 5 plus Mahabharatam is 5. Kavya.
Page 94 is Mahabharata.
Page 94 I know is Mahabharata. See, there is a Kavya and Gadya and Kavya. See, Gadya, Kavya and Nataka. So, Kavya can be divided into 2 parts, broadly. Gadya, Kavya and Nataka. Gadya, Kavya are those which you read. Nataka are which can be made into a play. Okay. So, it says, Kavyeshu Natakam. Where is that again? 154, no?
150.
Kavyeshu Natakam Ramyam. One which is shown because there is so much of rasa in it. Natakam Ramyam. Tatra Ramya Shakuntala. Even in that, Shakuntala is the most this one most which is very yes. Then Tatra Pidu Chaturthonkaha. That is the 4th chapter, 4th part. Part 4.
4th act.
Tatra Shloka Chatushtayam. What is the 4th part of Shakuntala? Anybody knows?
I think it is the meeting of Dushyant and
No. No. It is actually the marriage is all over. She is, it's all done. Everything is done. This is the part where Kanva Maharshi is sending her to her in-laws place, to Dushyanta. That is the part. Okay. Even in that, there are 4 shloka chatushtayam. 4 shlokas are described that gives out the feelings of the father when he is sending his daughter to marrying his daughter away. Those are the that is the most celebrated shlokas of any Nataka in contemporary literature in Sanskritam. 4 shlokas, if you have to tell and if you can explain that, anybody will give you a job anywhere. I mean, that's the modern day this one, but that is very, very deep, extremely emotional and extremely deep. The father's feeling towards his daughter at the time of that viraha, when he takes her and gives her to her husband. Okay, you can refer to that. It's all there on the internet. Okay, so Bharata, we started with Bharata, Shakuntala's son. Bharata, the lineage, Bharata, which Vamsha is this?
Raghu Vamsha, Surya Vamsha.
Surya Vamsha is, Bharata is Surya Vamsha. Who is Surya Vamsha? Rama is Surya Vamsha.
Raghu.
This is Chandra Vamsha.
Chandra Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha.
Chandra Vamsha. Bharata was the first king of the Chandra Vamsha. No, Dushyanta. From there, if Bharata is made the king, some 18 or 36. This one is, I think, Dushyanta, not Dushyanta. Yayat. There's a whole lineage which comes there. So some 36th or 37th person is Janame Jaya. Have you heard of Janame Jaya?
Grandson of
Janamajan is son of Parikshit.
grandson of Parikshit.
Who is Parikshit?
Son of
Abhimanyu.
Son of Abhimanyu. Who is Abhimanyu?
Son of Arjuna.
Son of Arjuna. So Janame Jaya is the grandson of the Pandava. He was the only one, no? Parikshit was the only one surviving in the entire war. Everybody else were, apart from the 5 Pandavas, the whole lineage was wiped out from there. Only surviving case was Parikshit. In fact, during the marriage of Uttara and Abhimanyu, Krishna actually blesses them as, you will be the one who will be Vamshodharaka, who will bear the Vamshodharaka of this kingdom.
Family.
Yeah. So at that time, Draupadi is around, Kunti is also around. And this is before the war, before they went into negotiation and all those things. Right? So at that time, Kunti very curiously asks, what sort of a blessing are you giving here? How is this even possible? Draupadi has 5 children. Abhimanyu comes after that. No, Subhadra was much, much later. Forget that there is Babruvahana, who was Arjuna's son, somewhere else sitting. Then Draupadi has 5 children. Then they have children from other wives all around. And you are saying that Subhadra's grandson is going to be the Vamshodharaka. Are you out of your mind? That is the question Kunti asks Krishna. Krishna says, let something speak for the future. That is the answer he gives his usual style and walks out. That is a very nice this one. Okay. So coming back to Bharata. The Bharata starts with a story, Vaishampayana telling Parikshit. Basically, Parikshit is bitten to Janamejaya. In fact, Parikshit is bitten by that snake and there is a snake, Takshaka and all those things. Yeah. Then Janamejaya gets angry, wants to kill all the Nagas and those things. Then the whole story of his lineage, how he was born, how Bharata came, and how Shantanu is where it lands to. Then we know the story of Bhishma and all those things. Then the real story of Mahabharata is not up to the war at all. The war is incidental to Mahabharata, by the way. The real story of Mahabharata actually starts after the war. Something that cannot be shown, or that is cannot be dramatized well on TV, so it was not shown. Probably it all ended with that, with Yudhishthira becoming the king, just like, and a very glorified picture of Ramayana and Mahabharata being similar is portrayed. That's all. No. The whole teaching of Mahabharata actually starts, of course, Bhagavad Gita to some extent at the beginning of the war. Then the Shanti Parva, when Bhishma is on his deathbed, that is when he actually tells a lot of things. In fact, at that point, Krishna takes Yudhishthira to Bhishma, telling him, teach him something. So there, Bhishma laughs at him, saying, you know what, I'm lying on the deathbed. What sort of a joke do you keep coming up with? I know that this is your Srishti, your Leela. Of course, Bhishma knew who Krishna was always. He was always in the know of everything. He was a Parama Bhakta of Krishna. You keep joking all around, but this is a joke going too far. On my deathbed, you are asking me to talk something and teach Yudhishthira when you are around. You are the person who is teaching everyone everything. Why are you doing this? Krishna, for a change, becomes very emotional and says, no, this is the first time I'm serious and I'm not joking. I might have done enough nuisance or enough mischief all around, but this is not a joke. I want you to teach Yudhishthira something of how to govern. So then Bhishma asks, why me? You are there, you should teach. Krishna really gives that reply. Look, if I teach, people will think, yes, everything is possible for Krishna. What is not possible for Krishna? What is there that is not possible? I don't want that to happen. You are the one who has lived a life, the ideal life that one should live for how a king and how dharma should be followed. So you are the one who should teach. Then he says, you know, I can't speak, I can't do anything, everything, memory is failing, everything. That's when he creates and he does that Maya and he teaches. The real thing starts from there. There are, I think it is the fifth, there are 5 or 6 more parvas after that in the whole of Mahabharata. And that is the reason why Dharma Palayanam Ati, it is very, very important to follow Dharma through Mahabharata. That is the whole idea of it. If I were to differentiate between Ramayana and Mahabharata, that is the key difference. It stops with something. Ramayana stops with this basic Rama Pattabhisheka. So, have we heard of these terms, normative and descriptive? Anybody who can tell me what is normative and what is descriptive? No. Normative is something that is ideal. That is okay. That is right thing going on and everything. A descriptive thing is something when you try to show it what all can happen. Essentially, Ramayana, Rama went through the journey, which was the ideal journey to go through. He had all his emotions, he had for all the things, he knew when to do what exactly. That is a normative description. Mahabharata shows us when normal people like you and me try to follow that normative path, what all happens. There are so many emotions that keep coming, no? The whole Pandava story is all about that. Yudhishthira started following dharma, which was sort of somewhere down the lane blind, had no idea whether to play the game of dice, not to play the game of dice. Yet he was sthira. He knew everything in dharma. There was nothing that he did not know. That's where the whole, this one comes. Then Arjuna, the greatest of the great warriors, said, I will run away from the war. Right in the middle of, on day 1, he said, no, I can't fight this war anymore. I am saying Bhishma, so I can't fight. Right. This is what happens to us when we try to follow and go through dharma. That is the reason why Mahabharata is called Panchama Veda.
Madhya, can I ask you one basic question? The very, like basic line is, after Dhritarashtra was blind, because of that only his brother took the position of the king. So when the children of Dhritarashtra are ready to rule, don't you think that it is their, like it's fair to give them the kingdom? That actually, like it's confusing for me. Sometimes I say like, hey, why do they have to fight? It's Dhritarashtra's kingdom. He was blind. He couldn't rule. So somebody else assisted. Now, they have to give that back, right? So.
Okay. Let me answer that differently. There are three ways of taking lineage. Hereditary is the most common one. And that's a given. Right? Now, hereditary comes to Pandu by that descent. Because Dhritarashtra was incapable and impervious to ruling. Okay. Now, if you look at the Surya Vamsha on the other hand, okay, there have been mostly a single ruling factor. Most true. Everywhere. In Mahabharata, it's a very different story. Let's go back. Let's not even start with Dhritarashtra. Let's go back to Bhishma's vow that, I will not marry. That was his vow, right? He said, I will not do anything that will go against my father's wish. And he stood by that. Now, once his father died and Chitrangada and all those three of those fellows were there, they were useless anyways. They did not do anything much, and even after getting married, they could not get children and all those things. At that time, Satyavati comes and begs Bhishma, saying, it is time you broke that vow. You married. My children are of no good. Nothing can happen. This is not the time for you to, this is non-negotiable. Had he done that, the story would have been very different. But then he said, no, I have done something, I have to stand by that Swadharma. Now, that itself is a challenge, it's a Swadharma versus the Prapancha Dharma. What do you do? So that becomes a very big Sukshma there. Okay. Now, when it comes to Dhritarashtra, the change was very different. If you look at Dhritarashtra, the case of Dhritarashtra, he was not the one who had to get the kingdom by any means. It came to him because as per the Shantanu's lineage and then Bhishmacharya's himself, what he has proclaimed, Pandu is the real person who will take over because of, so Vidura is a problem, Dhritarashtra is a problem, so the lineage will pass on to Pandu. That is what Bhishma and Drona together took that decision at that point in time. Right? Now, whether it was just a lineage thing, it was any other, this one, adharma. Now, the thing with this king and ruling, there's a very, Rajadharma has a very huge sukshma in it. I think we did this in the Gangavatarana. See, a useless son is never given a kingdom. One who is not there. The case of Vasamanja. Right? His father, Dilipa, not Dilipa. Yeah, I think it was Dilipa, no? Yeah. Sagara, sorry. Sagara clearly threw out his son and said nothing doing. Fortunately, he had a son who was good, Anshuman, and he gave him the kingdom. Now, it is not a given right that by birth you get that kingdom. It is the father who appoints the king. That is the whole idea of the whole thing. It is for the person who is sitting on the throne currently who decides who the future king should be. And this is not blindly. This is in conciliation and in the council of the ministers who are there. If you go back to even Rama's appointment as the king that Dasharatha makes, if you read Sarga, I think 24 to 30,
Yeah, no.
Dasharatha asks Vasishta, who do you think should be the king here? He never says Rama should be the king. He never says. He never utters that word that I want Rama to be the king. He was probably the first person who had 4 choices to make in that Vamsha. But he asked Vasishta and the other people, Jabali, Vasishta, there were so many of them. He asked them, please tell me who amongst these 4 should be the king. That is the question he puts out. He never put out that Rama should be the king. Then Jabali starts, okay, Rama has these virtues. Vasishta says he has this virtues. Then there are so many other who actually come out with a list of virtues of Rama. And that is when Dasharatha again probes. There is no need for you to be afraid here. You are all given abhaya. Please speak frankly. Please don't speak because I am going to be pleased out of this speak. That is the greatness of Dasharatha. That is the greatness of Ramayana there. Right? Now, that whole lineage business is something that is a little superimposed. It happens to be lineage and the eldest son usually gets it. That's true. But that is not a necessary condition. Or that is not, I would not say necessary condition. That is not a sufficient condition for you to become the king. There have been enough cases where somebody else has taken. Asamanja was the classic example, thrown out. You are not there, you are thrown out. So Dhritarashtra had fallacies, lot of fallacies, and it was well decided that Pandu would be the king and his lineage would continue with Pandu down, not Dhritarashtra down. So does that answer the question, Gauri Mahodaya?
Yes, Mahodaya.
Yeah, so facing this one, in fact, one more situation in Mahabharata itself, where Dhritarashtra, why that decision was made. When Duryodhana is born, there is a good, this one that is Akashvani. In that sense, Akashvani, whatever you want to consider it today, which says, he will be the Vamshanashaka.
Cause of all the Nasha.
Kill him. That was the thing which was given. And everybody agreed, but for Dhritarashtra had a lot of, he was attached to it. Totally attached to his son, Duryodhana. And that is where, if you read the very first loka of Bhagavad Gita, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavetayu Yutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaha Chaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. He does not say Kauravaha Pandavaha Chaiva. It could have been that way also. He says Mamakaha, mine. Wanted mine.
Children.
And mine was a little too much with him. And everything was mine too much. In fact, he even attempted to kill the Pandu sons, no? In some sense. While hugging Bhima and all those things. Those are all small stories which are there. So Dhritarashtra was never a fit person for that throne at all. Satyavati actually makes that statement herself to Bhishma, saying, you take over, first she says you need to become the king. There is no other choice now. You are not, there is no other, this one going, so you need to do it. He says no. She says no, you need to marry. He says no. To the extent that when Ambalike comes and curses him, you need to marry me, he says no. She curses him. I will get into Agni and then I'll come back and kill you in my next birth and all. He says, okay, I accept it. But once that dharma I have made, I will stand by that. That's why Bhishma becomes great. Bhishma is not great because he was, he also had problems in the sense that he landed with the wrong side of the army. So one of the questions that I'm always asked whenever I talk about Mahabharata is, Bhishma is such a great person. Dronacharya, at least you can say he had some attachment, something he landed with Duryodhana and all that. What made Bhishma go to Duryodhana?
He had promised that he will only work for of his country, for his country.
He will be with the king. He'll take care. He had promised that he will take care of Dhritarashtra because he was blind and he would be whatever. And Dhritarashtra was the king. He had to follow that blind this one. But I will follow whatever I said. I will follow that word. That was his stand with dharma. That was his uptake with dharma. That's why Bhishma is considered to be the real ego, the manifestation of the real ego, or the what is
the real I.
The real I. That is Chaya Rupa of the Bhagavan himself, of the Brahman himself. When that throws the shadow behaves exactly the way the Chaya is to behave. It does not have much of existence on its own. I will behave exactly the way Krishna wants me to behave at any point in time. He says, I'll make Krishna angry. He gets Krishna angry during the war. There was only twice that Krishna became angry throughout, no? And what does he do when he becomes angry and comes with the Sudarshana Chakra?
He kills.
He takes out all his kavacha and says, hey, look, Krishna is coming to kill me. What do I want? Prostrates. So there are these 3 or 4 characters in the whole of Mahabharata who are to be very clearly looked at. Krishna. First and foremost, Krishna. If you want to live a life, you have to follow Krishna. This one. He is a perfect example of what to do when, what not to do when.
Never attached.
Always attached detachment. In fact, once Satyabhama gets angry with him and takes him to throw him out as a dasa and to auction him to somebody as a dasa, no? So there are 16,000 wives who try to run behind him and all and try to prevent Satyabhama and all. Rukmini sitting there eating quietly, eating some good. This one calls them all back, come back. There is no point in you going anywhere. She tells them, she counsels them. That is what he has decided to do. That is his wish. He is making her do it to him. That is all. So stay back. There is no way you can do anything about it. That is the first character. Second is Bhishma. How does a shadow behave with it? Then if you have any other characters, Bhima, who knew exactly what to do and he would have done it had Yudhishthira not been there. Then of course there is Vidura. Of course there are the Pancharatnani of Mahabharata. Anybody who knows what the Pancharatnani are? No?
No.
Okay, where is Vishnu Sahasranama? We have this Vishnu Sahasranama, no?
Was done in the Mahabharata war at the time when Krishna asked Yudhishthira to advise Yudhishthira.
Bhishma tells Vishnu Sahasranama.
Yeah.
Bhishma, when he is advising Yudhishthira, he starts with that. Bhishma
Before that, he asked Krishna to stand in front of him.
Correct. That is when the Vishnu Sahasranama comes, first thing. Second thing is Bhagavad Gita. As in, Bhagavad Gita comes before that. Even before Bhagavad Gita comes Vidura Niti. Then there is Gajendra Moksha. Then the fifth one is Yaksha Prashna. Have you all heard of Yaksha Prashna?
Yes, Yaksha Prashna. Yudhishthira answers those questions.
Yudhishthira. That is the...
Yaksha asks and Yudhishthira answers.
Yes.
One by one, they die on the bank of a lake.
Yes. Those are the five important gems of Mahabharata. Yes, Gauri Mahodaya.
Mahodaya, what is Gajendra Moksha? Gajendra Moksha, what is it about?
Gajendra Moksha, what is it about?
No, Bhagavata, no. Bhagavata. In Bhagavata it is Gajendra Moksha, not in...
No, Gajendra Moksha comes in this also. That is this one. So, Gajendra Moksha is about... it's a beautiful allegory, by the way. So there's a crocodile which catches an elephant. Leg of the elephant.
Samsara. Crocodile.
Yeah. Hold on. So then the elephant prays to Brahman to actually release him. Release the elephant out of the crocodiles. This one. So Brahma comes and gives him moksha. So that is the basic story. That's the stula swarupa. Now, if you look at the deep meaning, we are all held by that crocodile.
Samsara.
That is what is called as samsara. Okay. And we are that elephant. Now, you don't get moksha if you don't pray. That is the whole gist of sum and substance of everything. Yeah. Okay.
It's actually speaking, in the beginning we said yajna has to be done by a husband and wife. So if you start, you have to marry and you become, go inside the samsara. And samsara is also a problem at the end, right?
So, okay, that is very well answered to the Bhagavad Gita. Very clearly answered. See, why do you get into samsara? And why is the samsara even there? See, this is a play. Just look at it as a play of the whole universe. The way Dakshinamurti Stotram, it says, Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam Pashyan Mayaya.
Pashyan Atmani Maya.
Atmani Maya Bahurudbhutam Yatha Nidraya Yat Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Svatmanameva Advayam Dakshinamurtaye Namamidam Sri Dakshinamurtaye. Okay, so to bring it out, see, samsara is basically a creation. How did the samsara even come about? Do you have any idea, Gauri Mahodaya?
I think in the Vedas they say you have to start, get knowledge first, that is brahmacharya, and then grihastha, and then vanaprastha and sannyasi. So that's why the second part of life. So that's why we all get into samsara. That's
the path of progress. Okay. But no, my question is a little different. My question is, how did this samsara or this universe even come into existence? Why is it even there?
Maya of Parabrahma.
Maya of this one. What is Maya?
Maya is the Prakriti of Parabrahma.
Okay.
So
I will just read out something from the Taittiriya Upanishad. Let's see what this will say. Okay. So kamayata Bahusyam praja ye te satapo tapyata satapastapva idagum sarvam asrijata yadidam kincha tat srishtva tadevanupravishat tadanupravishya satyatyacha bhavat niruktancha nilayanancha vijnanancha Satyancha Amritancha Satyam Abhavat Yadidam Kincha Tat Satyamitya Chakshate Tadatyesha Sloko Bhavati. Okay, let's do a bit of, I'll show you what this means. So Kamayata, at the beginning, or when, so we discussed this a little bit in the class on Sanatana Dharma, where we said at the beginning there was nothing. There was nothing. At the end there will be nothing. Okay. Or I shouldn't say nothing. There was pure conscience, or there was only one. That is the whole principle. That is always there. So this whole concept of Shankaracharya starting Advaita is a misnomer. Please let's get this very straight. Shankaracharya propagated what was already existing as Advaita. Advaita is the deep-rooted philosophy that's been there throughout. Okay.
Famous Sadeva Soumya Idamagramasid. That's the greatest. Sadeva Soumya Idamagramasid.
Correct.
Sadeva, only Sad.
That's Eva. Tadeva Idamagramasid. That's absolutely right. There was only Sat. Sat is what? The pure
Existence.
conscience of that nature, trueness, absolute self. That was the only thing existing. Now that one day it started getting a desire out of nowhere. It said, I'm getting bored. That's what happens to all of us. No, if I ask, there is this other Bhagavad Gita, that session where I keep doing with children, and I tell them, what is the thing that you like the most? They say, I eat something or play something. If I say you continue to play forever, can you do that? You get bored. So that's what happened to that consciousness. So Kamayata, got some desire came in. What to do? Bahusyam prajaye yeti. How nice it will be if I became many instead of one. I can do a lot of things. So he started doing some tapas. So how to become that many? If it was only up to that point, it would have been good. So tapas tapva idagum sarvam asrijata. He created all this after that tapas, which would have been good. If he had created all that and been there, everything, it would have been very good. Everything would have been fine till that point. There are two and everything is Srishti, everything would have been good. But the beauty of the whole thing starts after that. Tat srishtva. That's what it says. Tadeva nupravishat. It did not say, okay, I created, I'll play. It would have been some stone, some this, some that, out of it, it would have been playing around with that. I said, no. Let me get into each and every one of this.
And see what it is.
Right. So once it got into each and every one, there is a good element of that key which it can do. Let's take this as a very simple case, Gauri Madhya. Let's say you have a lump of gold. Okay. That is gold. As long as it is gold, it is lying there as a lump. Probably it has some value in the bank and there is money exponentially growing and it's all good. Someday that gold decides to become some set of ornaments. Let's say it has some sense of its own and it became some ornaments. Something became an earring, something became a necklace, something became a bracelet, something became many more things. If a ring and all those things it became. Now, let us say it has a chit shakti, which is it can talk and think. Now, there is something I can fill into it. It can become I-ness. The chain will say, I am more valuable than you, which is the ring. The ring will say, you know what, you are only a dot to something, this mukbottu or whatever that is. It will start, you can start quarreling amongst each other, no? That's exactly what happened. Now, the whole idea of the samsara is to get out of this. How do you do that? The process is exactly how you define. That is basically go through learning. Then in the grihastha, what you do is you go through that pain of this, realize that, samsara is all about just this much. There is something beyond this. Cleanse yourself and look for that something beyond. Okay. There is going to be good things, there are going to be bad things. Another way of looking at it, one more Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, looks at it very beautifully. Let's say there are two birds sitting on a tree. Okay. One bird is just sitting and observing everything.
Mundaka Upanishad.
Yeah. The other bird keeps on eating all the fruits that are available on the tree. Okay. Then this bird is just looking. First, the bird eats. Oh, it is very sweet. It is very beautiful. If this is so sweet, the next one will be sweeter. Let me try that. Goes eats that. It finds it a little bitter. Then it is no, this is not good. So now I need to find something sweet because my mouth is gone. My taste is bad. So it goes and tries to find the third one. So it goes on. The cycle will keep on going.
That is samsara cycle.
So the samsara cycle has two things. Either we are trying to find happiness or we are trying to retain the happiness that is already with us. Is there anything else that we are doing, Gauri Madhya, apart from these two things?
No, you are right.
Correct. These are the only two things that we are doing. So in that process, the moment we realize it's okay, there is good, there is happy, there is as well as sad. Let me take a step back and observe both and take whatever comes. It's okay.
That's the Sakshi bird.
That is the first step towards moving forward. That does not make you move forward. There are many things. There is, it says, there is the law of karma, which is very clear. Your karma, you will face what you deserve. Nobody else can do that. Krishna is very, very clear about it. He is very clear. He says, you know what? Your karma, you face. What am I going to do? What is my role as Bhagavan? I
haven't done anything. I have not given you that karma. You have done.
I am the Sakshi. I am not just the Sakshi. I am the best account keeper on this planet. I am the best accountant anywhere in this universe. I will keep exact account of what exactly you did and what exactly you need to get for this. Now, when you get it, is up to that karma. Whenever whatever is you have done, he is very clear about it. Absolutely clear. I am not going to do it to the extent that whenever he comes and he takes an avatara, he faces that himself. Enough instances you can quote. Yes, Ashwini Mahodaya.
Sir, in Garuda Purana, there are really shikshas are written?
Yeah, there are enough shikshas that are written. Yes, they are there. They are there. It is not like it is not there. I have also not read it in full, or I have also not done. There are enough restrictions, there are enough things that are talked about Garuda Purana.
Yeah.
But yes, I would like to get a full hang of it. But yes, there are enough things written there. Even Manusmriti, for instance, has a lot of this one on shiksha. How one should be dealt with and all. I think I gave last week I gave that example though. If a Shudra commits a crime, what should be how it should be done. Of course, there are certain things which may not conform to the modern standards of what we are considering, but that does not mean you throw everything out, no? There is wisdom in it. Okay. So that is the way it goes. And Mahabharata, one last thing about Mahabharata is that it is the most descriptive text that one can get. What to do, what not to do, how not to do. Right? So that is where, on that note, I think we have covered pretty much everything. Other things are mostly stories that we have. Drishta Kavya and Gadya Kavya we have seen. I spoke about it a little. Then there is all these other bhasa. Then there is Mrichakatika. Then there are so many stories that are given in English. You can all read that up. Mrichakatika, if you want a parallel story in the modern times, it will be the gift of Maggie. If you have heard of that story. There's by Anton Chekhov, I think. I don't know who it is. So yeah, there are things like that. Then Vasavadatta, all those bhasa and all those things are there. You can read them. Beautiful, this one. I will end this on a very, given that we are looking at Samskrita Vangmaya, I will end it on this one. There was one Kavi by name, wait, I'll tell you the name of the Kavi. Was that not Bhasa? It is, not Bhartrari. This is, can you give me some names of this one?
Bhavabhuti.
No, not Bhavabhuti also. The five famous, this one. Bhasa.
Dandi. Is it Dandi or something?
Dandi, no. Dandi is different. Dandi is not the one. Kalidasa, Bhasa, okay, I'll just tell a small story about him. When I recover like the name, I'll just put it out. So what happens is he is a very famous
Bharavihi.
Bharavi, right. Bharavi is one of the greatest poets. So when Bharavi was there, he was appreciated by everyone all around. So then, but his father would never appreciate him. He was very angry with that. As in, his father would always say, he's doing something in his life. What a wasted fellow in life. So, one day he gets very angry. He, in fact, tries to say, now I'm going to put an end to this. I'll go and kill my father, to the extent he is that angry with his father because he's been so this one. But while on his way, he figures out that his parents are having a conversation. His mother is asking, why do you keep pulling him down? What is it that is this one? So he says, his father says, no, it is not that I don't like him. He is the greatest person. Even I know that. Even I know is the best of the best. Best amongst the best. But as a father, if I tell him that, his ego will go very high. So I should not tell him that. That's why I keep quiet. So he gets very, very emotional. He gets very carried away. That yes, his father respects him is something he figures out. So then he goes and confesses, I came for this purpose, I have done this, so I should be careful. So please. So now I have to do a prayashchitta. He was a very pious fellow. So he said, I need to do a prayashchitta for this because I thought wrong about my father. So that is a very wrong thing. So you have to punish me. He says, no, there is nothing to punish you and all in this. He says, no, I have to be punished. So after that, he says, you know what? Okay, go stay in your in-laws' place for a month and come back. So Bharave is like, what sort of a punishment? Is it a punishment, or are you really giving me? Are you really taunting, or what is it? You don't get in the in-laws' place. You get like the best of things around. You are treated like the VVIP of the house. What is this one? So then he says, okay, he goes, stays there. First day is treated very well. Second day is treated very well. Everybody is waiting for him. He is like the king of the house. It goes on. Week, 10 days it goes on. After that, slowly, instead of the father-in-law waiting for him to have his meal and everything, he says, you tells his daughter, you go have it with him. It's okay. I will finish mine. And then slowly things come down. Instead of having sweets and bhaksha, bhojya every day, it comes down to only bhojya. Then suddenly he starts realizing all these things. And then suddenly, at the end of the last day, he realizes why his father actually gave him that punishment of going there. Overstaying your atithya is never right. So he writes on the wall of that bathroom or something. I don't recollect the exact words, but it's something like, your in-laws' place is a heaven. If you are there for 3 days or 5 days or at the 7 days, you get dadi, grata and all that. That is dadi is curd and ghee and all that. You get everything every day for these many days. Beyond that, padaraksha eva. You get the treatment of slipper only. So that on that note, we'll close this. So the wisdom comes through a lot of times. Anything else? I think with this we'll close. 27th next week we'll have the session with Professor Mahadevan. Okay. And on that note, I just want to end this whole session with a beautiful mantra from the Taittiriya Upanishad itself. Let that be the this one, and let that be the Mangala for this entire Sasyam session. Okay. So where is that? Shiksha Vandi. Yes, I will. Let me go through this. Okay, this is Swadhyaya Pravachana. Just listen to this, you will understand a lot of it, but if you don't, just let me know. Rutancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Satyancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Tapascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Damascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Shamascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Agnayascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Agnihotrancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Atithayascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Manushancha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, Prajacha swadhyaya pravachane cha, Prajanascha swadhyaya pravachane cha, Prajatischa swadhyaya pravachane cha, Satyamiti satyavacha pradhitaraha, Tapaiti tapo nitya paurashishtihi, Swadhyaya pravachane yeveti munako maudgalyaha. So there are 11 things that are told here. Rita and Satya first. Rita is the rhythm. Rhythmically speak Satya. That's what it says. Then Tapa, hard work, and that nothing can be achieved without Tapa. Then Dama. Shama Damadi Shat Sampat. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
The
Control of
right
senses and
conduct.
conduct.
Right
Control of
thoughts and the right conduct. Okay, the dharma and this one follows from this one. Okay, Agnayascha swadhyaya pravachanecha. Always have that to pass through samsara. As Gauri Mahodaya said, why are we in this samsara? Why is this? So let there be an Agni which is always there, which says, you know, we should cross this, we should pass through this. Even in the most depressing of the times, keep that Agni alive. Agni Hotran, have that person who is there with you, who will actually propel you through that Agni,
push you out.
no matter how difficult it is. Then Atitayascha Swadhyaya Pravachanecha, both Atiti as well as Atitya. I just spoke about Atitya. Atiti Devo Bhavaha is also there. Then Praja and Prajati. Progenate and then the future, this one. That is very, very important. Here, progenate is not necessarily you having child or you doing things. It's about how you pass on the baton of this generation that you have carried throughout to the next generation. That is the broader sense that needs to be taken very, very carefully. Then, that is the whole thing. Then one more, this one is Veda Manucharya Charyonte Vasina Manushaste Satyam Vada Dharmanchara Swadhyaya Atma Pramada. Never stop self-study. No matter how many times you have done anything. Acharyaya priyam dhanam ma pratya prajatantum ma vyavachetse satyanna pramatitavyam dharmanna pramatitavyam kushalanna pramatitavyam bhutyaina pramatitavyam swadhyaya pravachanabhyam pramatitavyam. Don't stop doing swadhyaya. At the same time, don't even stop pravachana. Make sure that is passed on. That is very, very important. Then Deva Pitrukarya Bhyana Pramatitavyam. Worship all the things that we get from Bhuta. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Order is very important. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. Yanyanavadyani karmani tani sevitavyani no itarani yanyasmakagam sucharitani tani tvayopasyani no itarani yeke chasmachyagyagum so brahmana tesha tvayasanena prashvasitavyam. Then this is all about dana. So in yajna, the most important component of yajna is dana. That is the most critical thing. You don't give dana, you know, at the end of yajna, every time when an ahuti is given, there is one line which is always uttered. Every single this one. Idan na mama. That is not a Vedic sentence at all. What does that idan na mama mean?
This is not mine.
This is not mine. That should be the bhava while giving it to anything or anyone. This does not belong to me anymore. It was mine. Idan na mama.
No.
The moment you say swaha, it goes as idan na mama. That is the dana. The way to give a dana is very clearly described. Dana is not just dana. Whenever you are doing any work, this should be the bhava of doing that work. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya adeyam. Shriya deyam, Hriya deyam, Bhiya deyam, Samvida deyam. Very clear. Give it with Shraddha, whole Shraddha. Without Shraddha, don't give. If you don't have Shraddha, don't even give. Don't even try that. Okay? Then Shriya deyam. Give with full wholeheartedness. Wholeheartedly give it. Shriya deyam, Priya deyam. Give with the sense of contentment and with what you are giving. Then it says Bhiya deyam. What is Bhiya? Bihi. Bhiti. Fear. Give with a sense of fear.
Yes.
What is this fear? The sense of fear is whether the person taking it is going to be offended by what I am giving or not. Have that fear always in you so that you are calibrating yourself while you are giving. Whatever you give, however you give, make sure that the person is never going to be offended.
Doesn't feel belittled.
Yes. And samvida deyam. Give it with fullness of you in everything. Okay. Ata yadite karma vichikitsa va vritta vichikitsa va asyat ye tatra brahmanasam marshinaha yukta ayukta aluka dharmaka masyuh yata te tatra varteran tata tatra varteta athabhyakhyatishu ye tatra brahmana sammarshinaha yukta ayukta aluksha dharmaka masyuh yatha te teshu varteran tata teshu varteta esha adeshaha. This is the order. Adeshaha. Yesha upadeshaha. Yesha vedopanishat. Etadanushāsanam. Evam upatitavyam. Etadanushāsanam. So if you find something that you don't know how to act in a particular situation, what do you do? Very simple. Vedas are very simple. It does not claim I know everything. It says, if you don't know what to do, what do you do? If the Vedas have not given you that answer, go back. Find a person who is dharmaka matyuho, who is endowed in the dharma, who has done this. See how he would have done the same thing in this position. Take it that way. Okay. So that is where it ends. I think with this we'll end Sasyam. Thank you so much. It was a fantastic journey. Hope we'll meet
Dhanyavad, sir.
again.
Thank you very much. Dhanyavad. We had a nice education.
Fantastic. Thank you. Om Purnamidam Purnamadam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha